Well, greetings, everybody. Thank you all so much for having me here at this conference. I especially want to thank the preceding presenters, and I really feel like it's truly an honor to be able to present my findings to you today. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and attempt a screen share here. Do let me know if there's a malfunction, although I probably will not be able to tell. I'm hiding this. I'm pulling this up, and I do believe we are now live. And I'm just going to trust here that we are. And if it's not, then folks, that is just the way of fate and the way of the source code. So with that segue, I'm going to just introduce my presentation today. I do feel very fortunate to be the keynote speaker here. My presentation today is titled "The Unquestioned Interiority of Humankind," and it is taking the form of a comprehensive corporate compendium of the corporeal and a-corporeal realities of the anthrosphere. It was compiled by myself as a representative agent of the Bureau of Conceptual Designation in accordance with the source code, as we all ever must be, eternally and ever thus. Moving on, just a little bit about me here. I am indeed a human male. Have that in common with some of the attendees here. I am comprised of matter, more or less. There may be some immaterial components that we'll talk about, but I am primarily carbon-based, just like you, which is one of the beautiful things we share as humans. And it is so wonderful to be a human here with you today. Indeed. And like I was saying before, the immaterial contributions to my essence do exist, but they are indeed elusive. I am, of course, referring to things like thoughts, dreams, ideas, etc. Things that you would no doubt agree with me exist, but may not be in the best interest of certain power structures that dominate in today's milieu. I was lucky enough to be chosen by the convention panel to prepare remarks on various phenomena, concepts, structures, experiences, occurrences, entities, networks, sensations, realities, happenings, events, ontologies, epistemologies, taxonomies, referential schemas, paradigms, interfaces, actions, recapitulations, constructions, objects, subjects, quanta, incursions, extractions, intrusions, disruptions, inversions, extensions, flows and fluxes, stases and stagnations, and otherwise inherent conditions of the corporeal and a-corporeal existence in which we find ourselves today. Just a simple little encapsulation there for you. Moving on the agenda for today, this is going to be about an hour-long presentation. I have factored in a little bit, excuse me, of a break for you all to stretch your legs, etc. I know we've been sitting for a long time. We are going to start with a relatively simple terminology review, kind of a basic rundown of the lexicon that's available to us today with the preceding research. Old hat, most of you are distinguished researchers in this field yourself, but even so, still important to review. Then we will move on to a simple lit review, survey of antecedent research, of course, that will, of course, start with the interior/exterior dualism of the oyster as posited by Roderick Schleemhauer, as you can see here, Mr. Schleemhauer, or rather, Dr. Schleemhauer, I should say. He's actually joining us today, and I think I can see him in the second row there. Dr. Schleemhauer, pleasure to see you after that research we did so many cycles ago. It's really an honor. It's really an honor to be here with you today. I am going to perhaps controversially touch on some of God's work, some of the research that he put in, admittedly 5,000 to 6,000 cycles before the rollout of the source code, which, again, I am not trying to question or impugn the ultimate authority of the source code. This is, of course, just a hypothetical research scenario, but it is undeniable that God laid many of the foundations with his membrane resonance theorem. So I will be going into that. Then we will have a brief rundown of the philosophy of intake, which I don't think needs any more explanation at this time. I'll present my own synergistic methodologies that I use to obtain this compendium, and also the synthetic, or should I say synthesized concept of liberation logic, which I have developed after extensive data analysis and various acquisition techniques and research methods. So liberation logic is, I do believe, extremely groundbreaking and earth-shattering for our field. Then we will move on to a group activity, the corporealization of mechanistic desire, which is an exercise that was developed a long time ago that we're all very familiar with, but I do think will be valuable in this context. Then we have to ask ourselves the question, folks, is what does this interiority research mean for the source code? And again, I do not mean to ruffle any feathers. I am not here as a radical operative. I am not here as a chaos agent. I am here as a representative of the Bureau, and I do not intend any infractions. That being said, we shall attempt a realization of self and potentially the envisioning of a post source code future at the end of this presentation. Okay. Well, that seems like there's a glitch in the animation there, folks. But you understand what I'm saying, that there may be a more radical conclusion to this presentation. But moving on here, yes, moving on here, indeed. Well, we're going to talk about the aforementioned terminology review, starting with a simple lexicon visualization here, seen in the classic Earstly lexicograph, which I believe was developed by Severance and Earstly 137 cycles ago in Helsinki. This is a chart we have all seen numerous times. However, the values do change from year to year, and this is, of course, the most recent one. We have initially with 82% of all lexiconographical entities that we have availed ourselves to and of in the service of verbal, semiotic, nonverbal, rhetorical, arhetorical communication. So the 82% of those fall into the corporeal interior category. And it would follow then that 32%, around 32, it does vary here, fall into the a-corporeal exterior category. Then, of course, we move on to the intrinsic, which is very mysterious. Does seem like an unscientific word, but folks, we are dealing with an elusive concept here with the intrinsic. And that, of course, leaves us with 12%, which is more than I would expect, falling into the category. Excuse me. I must have some sort of tickle in my throat. That that fourth category is, of course, the category. Folks, I'm not sure what's happening here. I hopefully you can tell that they're that contextually they're what I meant to say. That the category. Oh my. Okay. Moving on to present the pièce de résistance. I will refer to it as I uploaded my French software pack recently. Of course, the potentiality of liberation logic preponderance, and I am, of course, referring to liberational realities that we can obtain by basically fairly conventional data analysis methods, given the conventional data sets that we can access through the conventional channels. But there's nothing conventional about this, folks. The liberation logic is something that I think is revolutionary and that will change our entire conception of existence and the way that we view the source code. So without further ado, I do, without further ado, present some of my initial data and, do with this what you will. I just, it looks like there's some sort of corruption has happened in the data. I don't understand. I don't understand why this is folks. This is really bizarre. This is supposed to be a secure channel, and I was actually looking at this raw data earlier.